We're like,
Okay.
absolutely.
Again, what does this mean now? When you say how do you get the label? You know, for me, I always think about the creatives thinking about, okay, what do you mean you got a label in France? How did that happen? What happened?
Okay. So fundamentally, a label is a person who facilitates an artist's creative process. So me, I want to sing, I want to record. So a label pays for my studio time, pays for the producers. If I have to clear samples, pays for the clearance of samples, helps me to get the project distributed and marketed. That's what, they're basically your financier. That's what a label is. Primarily they're financier, and then the second function is to help you grow as an artist. So they do for you A&R, finding for you the right collabos. Then the third thing that a label does is to put the project successfully in the market.
Okay.
Cool. So we have been our own label because we did all those things
Production,
for ourselves.
yeah.
We did all our production, we shot all our videos, we looked for our own financing. So we were already that. But when you're entering a new territory, so the way to think about Europe is like Africa. Europe is many countries.
Together. Europe is a continent.
It's a whole continent, but also each country has its own vibes. So like France is made of French people who speak a language called French. Switzerland is made of Swiss people. Norway, so it's like the Luo people, the Luya people, the Kikuyu people. Then now you have your own territory, right? The way it used to be before colonizers came here and disrupted us with this bullshit that we currently have. Anyway, so when you're trying to enter into a new, so you can't take Europe as a market. You have to go into each individual country. It's a very slow process. So there's the ones who speak French. So like Austria is half German, half French. There'll be like Belgium, France. So once you enter like Franco-Europe, you can enter a number of Franco-Europe. So very much like Africa.
Yep.
So if you're in Anglo-Africa, if you're in Europe, like that. So now to come from Switzerland is very small. It's a very small market. So your next logical move would be to enter France. But France is a real music market, very insular, very advanced. So you can't just enter. So you need a publicist to put the articles in the newspaper. You need the music to be played on the radio. You need to get to be in the right gigs. And the French are very big on live. The French are big on culture. It's a big part of their understanding and of their diplomacy and of their politics. Culture gets a lot of money. So you have to find your way in. So when this label was like, we've listened to this music, we love it so much, can you license us the project basically to open for you? France.
So they reached out. Oh, that means the music must have been dope.
Tonka, that's our family. So
Nice.
we're like, yes.
Of course.
Go ahead. Now, I also didn't have enough context for France in the way Greg and Hook saw France. So when you come from French-speaking Switzerland, truly your next move would be to enter France. So for them, it was like such a big deal. For me, I was like, yo, it's a big deal because it's a new market entry, but I didn't have a sense of...
Them, they were like, yo, this is it.
You know what I mean? Like, what is big deal? I didn't have a sense of what that means. So then the label starts to put takes the licenses the music. And then one of my colleagues worked for many years at a festival in France. So she had gotten us booked with a festival in France. And then she was like, yo, actually the only way to really, if you're touring in France as an artist, you can make a proper living. But you need to get a booking agent. So so the festival that booked us in France was like, I'm going to introduce you guys to the booking agency that I think would really help your vibes. Our publisher in Switzerland was also like, there's this booking agency in France that I really think would get your vibes. The label was like, there's this booking agency. So they were all converging to the same booking agency.
And it was the same one?
All of them were converged. Okay. So we're like, okay, I guess there must be something here. So I guess all of them individually talked to the booking agency about us.
And of course, everybody must be trying to get onto that booking agency.
Yeah. They're really good. So this booking agency is like, we ain't saying yes, we ain't saying no. What we are going to do is that there's a festival in France called Transmusical. It's like Transmusical, but with LES, Transmusical, okay? It happens in December. Transmusical is the make or break If you play so Transmusical is it's an industry gig. The guy who founded it is the one who basically imported rock music into France and built out a whole. He's a cult figure. It's like the most respected music platform. And so the way it works is all these booking agents, festival heads, media programmers, club programmers, they come to Transmusical, and that's how they know what's going to be hot for the next year. So if you do well at Transmusical,
you're set.
Umeingia France. But to get booked to Transmusical, okay?
Hiyo ndio shida.
So I suppose all these people talking to this agency then speaks to the head programmer, the founder, and they give him our music, and they're like, yo, there might be something with this band. Ebu listen to them. And also remember, see, we're not walking in blind. We've also played some of the best festivals in Switzerland by this time. So our stage show is good. The costuming, the story, I've shown you the artwork for She. There's enough ingredients here
to show
that this is not just it's not just a cabal.
It's not just a hook them up.
Exactly. So I suppose he listened and is like, okay, cool, it's dope. And I also like this idea of like this Swiss Kenya collaboration. There's something cool about the whole story. Let's give them a chance. So like, cool. See, us guys are toured in summer. Our show is tight. We have costumes. Lucy Robbie has done her job. So we're like, cool. So even as we were going into Transmusical, to me, it was an important gig. I understood the importance of the gig, but I'm very grateful that I didn't have the context. I didn't understand how
huge
I didn't understand how make or break the opportunity was. I just understood that this is a really good gig. It's a really important one. And if we do this thing well, our booking agent is likely to work with us. Me, I was thinking about the booking agent.
Not all the millions. I
wasn't thinking about everything.
Wow.
So, Transmusical was a game changer. So first our hall, even the time we were playing, I think we were playing like at 10:30 or at like 11:30. We had a very good time on Friday night or Saturday night. It was even the slot we got in the programming showed that we were being considered seriously. And then the promo that you do within the festival itself at Transmusical, you do so many small showcases. There'll be like Radio Station X is having this showcase, Radio Station X is having this showcase. So here's another thing, Kenya. What if we stopped being goddamn competitors? You're competing about nothing. You haven't even built a cake to compete. So the radio stations are not competition. They're just like, so we are all in this thing. So all of us are pushing this one similar agenda, right? So from these 100 artists who've been programmed, now you just try and find the ones you want to come and do. So it's like mini showcases within the showcase. I don't know how else to say it.
It makes sense.
Right? I've also seen that with the big festivals in Switzerland, they will be like this thing that they call X Factor. So you can be booked as an X Factor. You're not big enough to command a headliner's audience or money, but there's something very special about your showcase. So they get the main music journalists to come and watch you do a mini showcase. So you're booked for 10 p.m. on Saturday night, but on Friday, 6 p.m., you will do a show for 40 people only.
None.
And those are the only 40 people you need to see you. After that, even if other people don't see you in the festival, that's okay. Good. These 40 who are other programmers or like big music editors, the ones with the blogs, they will see you. So the festival even understands that. So there's some slots that are not, you're not booked because you're a big deal. You're booked because you're a good musician and this is a good show and the professionals should see this show. The people who can help you get to the next level should see you. So since there are multiple stages in a festival, we can't take the chance that they are not at your stage during the performance.
We're guaranteed
So we're going to guarantee you that the people who need to see you are going to see you. So I have seen, because that mini gig within the main gig, see, that's an exposure gig. I have now seen what it actually means when you say you're going to give somebody a gig for exposure. You actually have to work twice as hard because you have to make sure that the right people are in the room for that person to actually derive the benefit of exposure. So I'd already, we'd already done some
Yeah.
of those. So I don't know. I just want to say I'm so grateful about my headspace going into Transmusical. I was not stressed. I was not worried.
You
The
had-
stage
you had
didn't overwhelm
practiced,
me.
aka done
We had done
many
this show
gigs.
so many times. Our light engineer was on point. Our sound engineer, Boris, is a beast, bro. He was on point. Then they understood what this gig was. Me, I was even asleep before then because I'd done so much media. Like within the festival, I had done so much media. And a lot of that now was having this PR person. So I saw also the benefits now of having a PR person in a new market. She's the one who made sure that all these media plugs that we were getting, even within the festival, all those plugs, all those little showcases that we did, that was the work of now the label, getting us in front of the right people. And then they're like, don't worry, you just do your job well at Transmusical, everything will open up. Smashed.
Okay, so the throwdown now, of course you get on stage.
I think we should just show people the show.
Okay. I like that.
Smashed. Hello, Rena. My name is Muthoni Drummer Queen. I am a singer, a rapper, and I play the drums. I came all the way from Nairobi, which is in Kenya, to party with all of y'all tonight. So I'm gonna need to hear you say, hey, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Rena, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hey. Happiness is around the corner, but the way this beat is taking over, I swear. Tabidi tumevuka boda, madi. Wapila boda, boda. This is not a rehearsal. We don't stop for a sponsor commercial. We go hard like it's going out of fashion. We were born ready, ready. Party rock steady. Everything you think that you know, rearrange. Every single time me upload, I change. Word I tracking like 4 different languages. That's where it's from. Nairobi, Kenya, baby. Did you come to have fun tonight? Did y'all come to have fun tonight? Say hell yeah! Hell yeah! Say hell yeah! Hell yeah! Say hey! This is how we're rolling. Ooh, mama, we're laying a fire. Hey! This is how we're rolling. This is how we're rolling. Oh, mama, we're laying a fire. Smashed the show. Smashed the show. So when we went backstage, us as artists, we felt very good about it. We felt we had done our job well. Our hall had 7,000 people. It was packed to the rafters. And we were in the top 3 of the festival. So when they did the festival review, like the best 3 acts from the festival, we were in the top 3 of the best acts at that Transmusical. So between the media that now we had gotten and then now the media that came out after that. So when we went backstage, me, I only wanted to know whether now our booking agent had said yes or no. That's when they were like, now we can work together. You have something that we can put on tour. So that is how 2019 we ended up with like a 40-something show tour. We toured a lot of France, Belgium, Netherlands. We did Montreux Jazz Festival in Canada. So I played on Saturday, Blinky played on Friday.
Yes.
So that's how we ended up hanging out. Blinky played the same showcase as Mr. Easy.
I'll shout out here, Pam Kiama. That chick has just been wanting to watch the playoffs because of you went to Montreal. You played in Canada.
Yeah, I played Montreal. We played Montreal Jazz Festival. We played 2 big festivals in Canada.
So all that came as, Canada.
All of that came
Because of this.
because of Transmusical. All of that came from that. Also, French-speaking world is connected.
Yeah.
So by us having a vibe in France, anywhere in the world where French is, we are in. And our label is strong. Our booking agent is strong. Our label, small as it is in France, Yatonka, they're effective. They truly love us. They truly believe in the vision. They're so committed to getting this thing done right.
Yo.
So
they put you, so now they tell you, okay, we are in, the booking agent tells you
yeah,
in.
the booking agent says we are in. So now 2019 is what we saw, what it meant to have a booking agent who is in. Because it's just like, they send you like an Excel sheet that has like 60 offers. So now your job is to see whether it makes sense. So what our booking agent did, they didn't manage the tour. They booked the tour. So we ended up having a Swiss tour manager and French booking agent. It was very complicated. In our next touring, we would like to have the same booker and the same manager. What that means is gigs, because it's summer, so gigs are running from Monday to Monday basically. But you have to make a tour path that makes sense for you, because also
flights and everything.
Correct.
Life.
But flights doesn't make sense when you're doing touring. You only fly between continents.
Yep.
If you can, use the road, use trains. It's very flights. The cost of flights stacks up, because also our tour team isn't few. So there's Greg and Hook. There's myself, right? So the three of us, MDQ. Then you have 2 backup singers, you have 2 dancers, you have a light engineer, you have a sound engineer. So we're already 9 people.
Yo.
Right? I don't even have Lucy and I don't even have Ojin for visuals. You see, already we are 9 of us. So you can imagine if you have to do flights between places, even if you're taking cheaper flights, even if the flight is 10K, that's already 90K.
Yeah.
So if you take like 10 of those, that's already $1 million just on flights. So it doesn't make sense. So, and Europe is networked by roads. So what made more sense is for now, we are registered as an association in Switzerland. So Greg, Hook and I, anything, our royalties, whatever, the earnings of our work is in a mutual pot. So we agreed we buy a tour van, because if we buy a tour van, you're able to move places. But it's a huge sacrifice, because it means sometimes you're driving 400, 500, 600, 800 kilometers, and it's Greg who is driving, because the tour van has to fit all our stage gear, our costumes, and your clothes. So there's some chairs at the back that you can't even use. So it's like Tetris. You have to stack this thing. It's like Tetris, you know. And then it means that Greg has to drive, but Greg can't drive always. So other members of the band have to drive. So the Swiss team, I will give it to the leadership of Greg and Hook and to the beautiful personality of our team. People are so loving and so cooperative. They're like, yo, we also want to go on this tour thing. So if it means that we take shifts driving, we will.
We do this.
But that's not your job to drive. You're here to dance. But it's like, for us to have this opportunity for me to dance, we have to drive to this opportunity. So that's doing a rota system for who drives, for Greg to get some time off. It also means when you're making a tour map,
make it. Don't go Costo and then Kisumu and then Nairobi.
Okay. So you have to think about if I go as far as Costo, then on the journey back, I have to do a gig at Voi, then I'll do another gig at Mtitwande, then I'll do another one at Emali. So making a tour, so you get many offers and then you build your own tour map based on what makes sense. But also what it means is like, if I'm in Costo and my next gig is in Emali, so maybe I should drive till Mtitwande after the show. So I left the stage that I was headlining and packed the van at 2 a.m. Then we drove for 3 hours to the hotel in Mtitwande.
Yes.
You sleep over at 3 a.m. till 7 a.m. 8 you hit the road so that you can do this 3 hours to make it to your sound check at noon, because if you're the headliner, last in, first in. But basically how you do sound checks is the last person does the sound check first. Then you save the presets. So it goes like that. So because we were often headlining in 2019, you're the first one on sound check. So your sound check is at midday.
You were headlining.
Yeah, we headlined. In 2019, a lot of the shows we played, we were headlining.
Muthoni, forget flowers, take the forest.
Yeah, 2019, a lot of the shows we played were headlining. So it means that you slept 3 or 4 hours, then you got on the road and then you drove for another 4 hours. Then now you do at 12, then you go to the hotel, you sleep maybe till 5 or 6, then you come, get into hair and makeup, do your show, pack your shit. Touring is not glamorous at all. I swear. And
everyone wants
it. It's very important that you know that. I was telling this to BN, it's not. There's a point after which, like after episode 25, like the 25th show, it's a schlep. It's just a grind. Wake up, be in the van on time, drive for a number of hours, eat by the convenience store that you find on the road, get to the festival, do your sound check, sleep for a few hours, do your performance, pack your things, or go to merchandise, sell merchandise, say hi to
What
fans.
merchandise did you have now? Did you?
Everything: vests, jackets, CDs, LPs, stickers. We have a wide range of merchandise.
Do you have some of those African attire like what you're wearing?
Yeah,
no.
no.
No, now this you.
No,
this,
we
this,
didn't sell culture items.
Okay.
It's our culture. We don't sell culture items.
Oh, I get it.
But we will sell t-shirts, jackets. So we develop the merchandise on this side. Some of it, Akina Hook makes some of it on that side. So you're also the ones who are selling your own merchandise. Then you pack your things. Then you drive for 3 hours. You shower, you sleep for 3 hours, you wake up. So after a point, it just becomes a schlep. It just becomes this mechanical thing that you're just doing. It's a grind.
Yep.
Touring is hard.
And there's and what I love what you're saying. You're reminding me of Ed Sheeran during his beginning days. There's levels of touring.
Yeah.
There's levels of even where the plane and crisscrossing by plane and helicopter and that good life is still crazy.
It's still crazy.
It's still the routine.
The thing that happens is you get more comforts. So the more we will tour, for example, now we'll be able to afford to hire a tour bus as opposed to our van, which means that maybe you'll have more comfort in the travel, but you'll still do the same thing.
You still have to travel.
You still have to do the schlep of thinking about what is the order of shows that makes the most amount of sense. And touring, you balance finances on the whole of the tour, not per event. Because there's some events where you're like, this fees is lower than
what I normally take.
Than what you normally take. But the days where you don't have shows, for example, let's say you have a show on Wednesday and your next show is on Saturday. So Thursday and Friday, you're on your own bill. So you're covering your own cost of food and you're covering your own cost of accommodation.
So, okay. Can we have an understanding? I'm not asking about how much are you being paid, but I'm asking how did it work? First and foremost, are you being paid for every show?
Yes. You always do a performance fees.
And does that performance fee come with accommodation?
Yes. So generally, every day you perform, you have your accommodation and you have your meals and you have your fees. That's standard for the days that you are doing any show, whether it's at a big festival or whether you're doing a club venue, right? So how you do touring is you balance your main point is you have first your hard costs of touring, which is the cost of the van, there's the fuel, there's this toll, the highway tax that you pay quite a bit in France. Those are standard costs.
The food that you eat while traveling.
The food when you're eating, those are standard costs. Then for Greg Hook and I, we also have now the cost of our team. So the dancers, the singers, the engineers, those ones are fixed fee. So you negotiate a fixed fee. So whether you're doing a festival or whether you're doing a club, you negotiate a fixed fee so that you're able to be like, okay, so these are our hard costs before anything has happened. So when you're now looking at your offers, so let's say your hard costs are 30. So you need your offers to be 30 plus. For you to be able to make your hard cost. And then now you also have to factor in yourself. So even you want to get paid for this, your work. So let's say your costs are 40. So what is your total of fees? So let's say that your total of fees is 40 or even 30.
Yes.
Which means your tour would run at a loss. Because your costs are 40, but your earnings are 30.
Exactly. I get you.
So the cool thing about Switzerland is when you are a touring band, you can go now, like I've said, to the version of MCSK and say, we are touring.
Hook us
Please,
up.
can you give us some money to meet our hard costs? So if they tell you, Sawa, what are your hard costs? 30, we will give you 20.
Yeah.
So that you have to do it's truly business. You really have to. So you get some from that. So our 2019 tour was we were able to break even and be profitable because we were able to balance between the tour support we got and the fees that we got, the combination
so
of
the tour
those
support
things.
being the MCSK version of
Exactly, they are giving
Yes.
you money for you to be able to top up to your pot. Very great management by Greg and Hook, being able to make the right decisions about which shows to take. Chatting a good tour map is it's very important to make the right tour map for you to end up meeting your costs. And our band members being very cool with us about the rate, because you have the rate for the days of the show, and then you have the rate for the days when you're not having the show. Because you see, just because I'm not performing today, you're a sound engineer, you make money. So I still have to pay you a rate, even if we're not having a performance today. Because if we were not doing this, you'd have been at home doing a show.
Whoa.
So we still have to compensate for this time when you're not at home.
I get it.
So those
So
are
you're
the
not
things
just
that you
paying
call
them
tour
for- yeah, I
costs.
get,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
not just the fees of the day you're performing. We also have the off days. So you have to calculate.
And
all
even on
those
the off
things.
days, their accommodation is still up to you.
The accommodation is still on you, you know. So I just want to say that I even now I don't I even now I feel like I'm not doing the touring justice, and I would like to, because it's a very important, it's a thing that so many artists long for most of their life. And it's true, there's true artistic fulfillment. You get so much from touring. Every night you're in a different place. Every night it's like the slate has been wiped clean. Just because you were great last night does not mean you're gonna be great tonight.
Different people
Different
that you
audience,
meet. Yeah.
you know. When you're planning a tour, you also balance between like outdoor big festivals and like small clubs, because it's like, you know, for the tour to make sense, there are some gigs that you're going to take which you're like, I didn't want to take this gig, but ultimately it makes the big picture make sense. So you'll also like, yesterday you were playing for 5,000, tomorrow you're playing for 300, the next day you're playing for 12,000, then 8,000, then 24,000, then 1,000. So that graph, so you have to become a constant. So 2019 we toured, bro.
What?
And then the show, there were very many outstanding shows. But I would say that the Viareshu, let me say it correctly. Now I cannot say it correctly. But there was the festival where we played with Black Eyed Peas.
Stop. Let's eat. Let's eat.
Okay.
And remember that
to
name.
continue there, yeah. I need to remember the name of that. Because now we just began a new